We have several different examples of really strong work where we really try to push the envelope in these issues. As you heard me say yesterday morning in the initial setting, we try to illustrate the necessity of opening up even when the issues are complex. We talked quite a lot about that. But opening up also means, and I'd like to use this quote by Hans. Where is he? There he is. That's the mastermind behind this quote and much, much more work. It's about power. It's about co-creation. It's about the realization that people in power need to realize that they do not have the only interpretation of reality that is valid. Morning. So what we need to do is find ways to actually do this in a real manner, not just talk about it. It's the doing which is the learning. So we will start out today with two examples. Not example, that would be sound too lame, but really hard work in Sweden from Västra Hisingen. We have a couple of triad of people telling their story, and they will show both movies and insights and things like that. And then we have Fagersta, which is another of this work on this model that we've tried to use. Then we will listen to work done in Taiwan, and then in Mannheim in Germany. So we'll hopefully get a pretty broad view of this work. What we're trying to do is actually address, at least in the context of Sweden, a really hot topic which we seldomly talk about. We have a tough time with our work on inclusion and integration, so we need to find different ways of looking at this. And maybe you remembered yesterday we chatted a bit about the idea of sitting in the fire rather than just sitting around it. So what we've tried to do is to deepen the conversations between the different perspectives around this issue. In order to do this in a structured way, in about, 7 or 8 years ago, SALAR, the Swedish Association of Local Authorities and Regions, SKL in svenska, started trying to use the methodologies of dialogue, but in a different manner, where we try to find a systematic way of approaching a complex issue. We need, even if it's complex, at least we need some sort of order and structure and how we do things. We co-designed, I would say, this very simple, and it looks really linear and it looks really simple. Do not be fooled by that. It's neither linear or simple. It's a more iterative process. The goal is to try to learn as fast as possible and actually to fail as fast as possible with the less amount of risk, because then we learn something and when we can do it again. But there is obviously a big challenge of addressing such a crucial issue in this manner. So we've tried to really collaborate with different municipalities saying we have these challenges, we like to try to do work in this order. These 6 steps of preparing, listening and gathering perspectives, going into the 3rd step, having these really hopefully deepening dialogues where we really can co-create something. Going over to the 4th step means, okay, what could we do? What should we do? How can we actually do it to really focus on working together there? So in a very basic sense, we've tried to gather all the perspectives around the issues, not just listening to them, but working with them also. So we try to, in a sense, put the conflict between the different perspectives earlier in the process rather than later. So we avoid all these Christmas lists. However, as you can see on the dotted lines, we are very, very clear upon the fact that the dialogue has also a situation where it actually ends in the sense that it has practical political power. So we say that the actual decisions on what to do and how to do it, that in this case are aimed at the municipality or the county or the region, that's a political question within the representative democracy. We need to be very clear on that. So far that has actually worked out quite well, because people understand that we can't have just a sort of partially representative part of the people, but we need to really work together, and by doing that we build a trust that actually we can accept that everything is not going to be in the way that we potentially desire. in the sixth step, where we start to work together again, of course, we can open up again. So the logic is actually quite simple. Open up and close, open up and close. That's the basic idea. We will see the two examples from Sweden following this. And just to give you a glimpse of what we meant by sitting in the fire, this is one of our basic ideas of why we need to, what we would say, lower the waterline. We need to find ways of going a bit deeper into these issues. We have lots and lots and lots of methodologies for gathering views, sitting around the issues, talking about what might be, what often quite nice conversations. What we try to do is to visualize tension through polarities. What we've tried to is actually enable that conversation to happen, and that is one part of it that we seem to be very, well, we believe is very important, is the facilitation skills of the facilitators in doing this, and neutrality is one key word for us there, not to have a side or to choose a side, because that enables us to go a bit deeper. And as we know, in the context of immigration and inclusion in Sweden, the biggest gap is in between the people who are already living in Sweden and the people coming to Sweden. And that polarity is so obvious because they never meet. They talk about each other, and they seldomly talk with each other. So what we try to do is to actually bridge that gap in a structured way through these dialogues. So that's the really short version of what we're doing.